Today, Juneteenth is commemorated across the country. It marks the end of slavery when the final slaves were freed in the U.S. in Texas in 1865.
Yeah, in the decades since that moment, there has been some progress for Black Americans, but not enough when it comes to being a business owner. Joining us now to talk about how to uplift businesses in the minority communities is Michael Pugh, President and CEO of Carver Federal Savings Bank. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, good afternoon. It's a pleasure. Thank you all for having me.
So I think what's interesting is that, I know that when I think of a bank, and I think of, like, when a lot of people think of banks, they imagine like these giant, nameless, faceless, just like institutions, massive. I know your bank is not one of those.
That's absolutely right. So, Carver is a U.S. Treasury designated community development financial institution. And what that basically means is that the United States Treasury decided they saw the importance of establishing financial or supporting financial institutions that have a real scope and remit to focus on economic development as a critical part of their business. And that economic development is typically in underserved communities that have historically been forgotten about. The Treasury's requirement is that 60% of every dollar you have on deposit must be reinvested in the communities that you serve. Carver's an example of an institution that's been around for 73 years, and we're proud to be able to say that 80 cents of every dollar we have on deposit gets reinvested in the communities we serve throughout greater New York City.
And let me ask you this, Michael, what sort of hurdles do minority business owners face daily, or even people that are trying to start their own business?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges for small business entrepreneurs as a whole is thinking about their capital structure, the mix between equity and debt, and how much you want to be able to take on in order to truly help grow your business. But particularly for small businesses that are within the Black and Brown communities, as you think about the Latinx community, African Americans, Afro-Caribbean community, they are often strapped for getting access to capital. And that extends, beyond just frankly having investors, but also, partnerships with financial institutions to think about how to be able to get a loan that may be able to help with working capital to operate the business.
Well, no, the idea of getting money, where are you going to get the money from? Is it going to be a bank? Is it going to be an uncle? Is it going to be, that's always like the big struggle for any business, especially in the Black and Brown community. I want to ask you, how can the community as a whole help the businesses that are existing and help them thrive?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question and point. What we certainly have seen since the pandemic, we know that particularly for Black and Brown communities, some studies have shown that roughly 40% of minority small businesses had to close their doors because of the pandemic. And so probably the biggest way to help a small business be able to recover and thrive from certainly these economic uncertain times that we've seen, and the ones that are in existence now as we think about interest rates rising and the cost of operating a business. Get out there and support your small businesses. Take a special interest in making sure that you're really out there and you're supporting them by purchasing their product. And then for financial institutions, I think whether we're big or small, we all have to be thinking about how to support our small businesses through technical assistance programs, initiatives, as well as getting capital out there on the street to support those businesses. Because we know historically that the economic engine for our nation really is the small business sector.
Absolutely. Michael, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.
My pleasure. Thank you all for having me.
Take care.
All right. Take care.